We have to talk about last night. It was awful.
Can you stand up and walk? Let me see. Let me see.
You want to see me walk?
Yes. Are you walking normal?
Watch me walk.
You're walking normal. Oh, come back.
You have the nicest ass I have ever seen.
I'm blushing.
The moment Lisa steps into the room, everything looks perfect at first glance. Daniel is smiling, charming, attentive, the kind of guy who seems too good to be true. And right there, you feel the rush of excitement. But within hours, that excitement starts to fray at the edges. On the first morning together, he suddenly shifts. A casual conversation about plans turns into questions that feel more like tests. Lisa is complimenting him, full of admiration and hope. And he nods, smiles, but doesn't return the warmth in the same way. The subtle chill creeps in. You start noticing the little things. His tone sharpens when she hesitates. His body language controlling when she steps slightly out of line. It's the kind of behavior that could be brushed off as cultural difference or miscommunication, but something in the energy feels off, heavy, and deliberate. She tries to ignore it, chalking it up to nerves or first-day awkwardness, but the tension builds quickly. Last night, when they were alone, there was an attempt at intimacy. It should have been a moment of closeness, a way to solidify connection, but it failed. Not in a gentle, forgivable way, but awkwardly, leaving Lisa confused and vulnerable. Her admiration for Daniel doesn't fade, but now it's tinged with doubt, with anxiety she can't shake. She starts questioning herself. Was it something she did, something she said, or is he not what he seemed? The audience can feel it instantly. Every glance, every hesitation, every small reaction is a tiny red flag waving in plain sight. And here's where the real psychological pull comes in. Charm versus control. On the surface, Daniel appears smooth, caring, the perfect partner who listens and engages. But beneath it, there's manipulation, subtle and precise, designed to keep Lisa off balance, questioning her own instincts. He alternates between sweetness and criticism, attention and withdrawal, creating a push-pull effect that leaves her constantly anxious, constantly seeking approval. You can almost see her brain spinning, trying to interpret his reactions, trying to anticipate his expectations. It's the type of dynamic that hooks the viewer because we already know something the character doesn't. The mask will slip further, and the cost for Lisa could be huge. Even small gestures start to feel loaded. A tone of voice, a raised eyebrow, a request phrased as concern. All of it builds a web that Lisa can't fully see yet. And yet, she's so drawn to him, so invested, that she can't or won't step back. Every compliment she gives is returned with cold indifference. Every question she asks is subtly redirected to make her justify herself. The charm keeps her there. The control begins to trap her. And the tension escalates in ways that make you, the audience, hold your breath. By the end of the first day, the audience is left with a gnawing unease. Lisa is trying to navigate a maze she doesn't fully understand. And Daniel is already setting the boundaries, testing her compliance, measuring her reactions. You're left wondering, will she see the warning signs in time? Or is she already too invested to escape? The charm is still strong enough to blind her to the cracks. But the cracks are there, growing, impossible to ignore if you know what to look for. And the real question lingers. How much of Daniel is real? And how much is carefully staged to control and manipulate Lisa without her even realizing it? Lisa wakes up the next morning still buzzing from the first day, trying to hold on to the thrill of being with someone she hoped was perfect. Daniel is there, smiling, attentive, even playful. And for a moment, it feels like everything is exactly as she imagined. She showers him with compliments, praising little things, from the way he smiles to how he dresses, and for a second, it seems like they're on the same page. But the cracks are subtle, almost invisible if you aren't paying attention. He nods at her praise, but the warmth doesn't match her energy. That smile, so smooth and polished, feels a little off, like it's a performance rather than genuine appreciation. Then there's the framed photo on his bedside table. From Lisa's perspective, it's charming, sentimental even, but the audience already notices the undertone. A photo of him and his family, prominently displayed, subtly says, "I belong to this life. You're stepping into it, so you better be ready." It's a small gesture, but in the context of his controlling tendencies, it becomes a silent warning. Every detail of his environment, every little comment, is layered with expectation, testing Lisa without her realizing it. The charm keeps her engaged while the control quietly edges in. Even compliments feel uneven. Lisa gushes about him, but he rarely reciprocates. This imbalance starts to erode her confidence without her even noticing. She wants to believe he's perfect, but the audience sees the pattern forming. He gives warmth strategically, pulls back when convenient, and keeps her off balance just enough to make her seek more validation. It's a classic push-pull dynamic, and watching it unfold creates a mix of amusement and tension for the viewer. Every wink, every half smile feels loaded with intention. And then, the rules begin to appear in the smallest ways. He suggests she dresses a certain way, arranges her hair exactly how he prefers, or follows subtle behavioral guidelines when interacting with his family. On the surface, they seem reasonable, polite even. But stacked together, they start to feel like invisible walls, quietly hemming her in. Lisa wants to trust him and make everything perfect, but the pressure is building. Every decision she makes is subtly judged. Every small misstep magnified in his eyes. The psychological tension here is palpable. We see Lisa's vulnerability, the way she's still recovering from past disappointments, how eager she is to be loved, how willing she is to forgive little missteps. And then we see Daniel exploiting it, intentionally or not. The audience knows more than she does, which makes every interaction sharp and suspenseful. We can almost hear the internal voice saying, "Notice the patterns, notice the signs," while Lisa continues to navigate the labyrinth of charm and control. Even as the morning unfolds, Daniel's charm offensive keeps her hooked. He's attentive, funny, and seems invested, which makes every small red flag feel like a fluke. But the rules are only starting, and the real pressure hasn't even hit yet. Small gestures, uneven praise, subtle control, it's all quietly setting the stage for the bigger manipulations coming next. What Lisa doesn't know could change everything tomorrow. Lisa steps into a world she barely understands, where every smile, every gesture, and every word is being judged. Daniel explains that before any wedding plans can move forward, she must earn his uncle's blessing. At first it sounds simple, just a formality. But as the details unfold, Lisa realizes it's a test. The uncle will ask questions, observe behavior, and make judgments that could decide her future with Daniel. Her heart races as she imagines all the ways she could falter, all the hidden parts of her life that Daniel doesn't know, and all the mistakes that could be uncovered in front of a family that holds the power to approve or deny her. Every detail feels magnified. Lisa worries about the outfit she'll wear, how her hair will look, the way she folds the headpiece, even the tone of her voice. A casual comment from the local tailor about her size stings more than she expects, shaking her confidence. Her mind races, replaying everything she's hidden, her past relationships, the truths she's kept secret, the habits she's ashamed of. Each thought piles onto the next, amplifying her anxiety and making the simplest decisions feel like life or death moments. The charm she felt from Daniel earlier is now overshadowed by the pressure to perform, to navigate cultural norms she barely knows, and to impress a man whose opinion carries enormous weight. Even small actions are now loaded with significance. Picking up a bowl incorrectly, mispronouncing a word, hesitating in response to a question, any of these could be read as disrespect or incompetence. Lisa feels the weight of being constantly watched, evaluated, and measured against standards she isn't fully familiar with. She's desperate to make a good impression, but the fear of revealing too much or being misunderstood eats away at her calm. The room feels smaller, the stakes higher, and every interaction is charged with tension. Daniel's presence adds another layer. He offers guidance, but it's mixed with subtle reminders that mistakes will be noticed. His instructions are precise, but delivered in a way that heightens Lisa's stress, making her feel the pressure to meet not just his expectations, but the expectations of an entire family and a culture she's still learning to navigate. The tension between wanting to impress and fearing failure is almost palpable, and as an audience, we feel the anxiety building with her. Every choice feels consequential, and Lisa's internal monologue becomes a battlefield of doubt and hope. Should she speak freely? Or stick to safe answers? How much of herself can she reveal without risking judgment? The psychological stakes are high. Concealment versus honesty, desire versus fear, autonomy versus control. She's performing constantly, managing impressions and holding her secrets close, all while trying to read Daniel's cues and anticipate the uncle's expectations. The pressure isn't just about approval. It's about survival in a relationship that already shows subtle manipulations. Every moment carries weight, and the audience can sense that one wrong answer could trigger a cascade of consequences. Lisa's stress is not just nervousness. It's the tension of living in a space where every misstep has amplified impact, where the charm and control dynamic is only tightening. One wrong answer could cost more than just approval. Daniel shifts from warm and charming to sharp and demanding in the blink of an eye. One moment, he's smiling, complimenting Lisa, making her feel like she's the only person in the room who matters. The next, he questions her every move, critiques how she eats, how she folds a piece of fabric, even how she speaks. Lisa laughs nervously, trying to smooth over small missteps, but each correction cuts a little deeper, planting seeds of doubt in her mind. She wonders if she's failing in ways she doesn't even understand yet, and the anxiety starts to creep in, subtle but relentless. He comments on her handling of traditional rituals, the way she tastes the palm wine, and the tiniest gestures of her body language. Each time, he frames his criticism as concern, almost as if he's protecting her from embarrassment. Yet the effect is the opposite. Lisa begins to question herself. Is she too slow? Too clumsy? Too different? She searches for reassurance in his eyes, hoping for a sign that she's doing enough, but the line between care and control is blurred, and she can't be sure. The charm and sweetness he showed earlier suddenly feels like part of the strategy, a setup for the next correction or push. When Daniel gestures toward her, insisting she show whether she's sober after tasting the wine, it feels ridiculous, humiliating even, and Lisa's face tightens. She wants to protest, to tell him she's fine, but part of her wonders if she's missing something, if she really is failing a standard she doesn't know. The control is subtle, layered in routines and rules, but it's effective. Each small act, each pointed remark, nudges her toward compliance, and with every gentle smile or soft word that follows a reprimand, he reinforces that charm is still on the table, but only if she stays within the invisible lines he's drawn. The tension grows as the day continues. Publicly, Daniel can be charming, friendly, even playful. Privately, he measures her reactions, tests her limits, watches for signs of resistance. Lisa's internal struggle becomes a performance of its own, balancing politeness, curiosity, and self-preservation. She feels trapped between wanting to please him and not wanting to lose herself. And the audience can see the gears turning, the emotional tug-of-war intensifying. Every small victory for Lisa, keeping her voice steady, following instructions, smiling through criticism, is immediately countered by a new demand, a new rule, or a subtle power play. Her emotional energy begins to fray, and the audience can feel the push-pull with almost physical intensity. It's clear that Daniel knows exactly how far to push before she fights back, and every moment carries the tension of waiting to see if she will break or rise. He compliments, then criticizes. He gestures affection, then tests obedience. Every action is calculated, measured, and wrapped in charm, creating a pendulum swing of hope and anxiety that Lisa can't seem to catch her breath from. Each interaction leaves her second-guessing, mentally replaying every move, and wondering how much of her own judgment she can trust. He knows exactly how far to push before she fights back, that Lisa sits quietly, hands fidgeting, trying to steady her thoughts. Her mind races with every interaction from earlier, every glance, every word, every tiny critique, and she begins to doubt herself. Did she fold the cloth properly? Did she smile enough? Did her voice sound respectful? Each memory twists in her head, and her stomach knots. She wants Daniel to like her, to feel safe with her. But the harder she tries, the more she senses the invisible walls closing in. She's performing, measuring every smile, every nod, every pause, hoping it hits the mark he's silently set. But nothing feels natural anymore. She rehearses conversations in her mind, imagining questions from Daniel or his family, and crafting perfect answers that might avoid disapproval. Every small mistake, even imagined, looms like a warning sign. Lisa fears judgment, not just from Daniel, but from the eyes of his family, their cultural expectations, and the heavy weight of approval she's desperate to earn. This anxiety becomes a cage. She's trapped in the desire to be perfect, and the audience can feel her heartbeat as if it's echoing in the room. Her inner monologue is a battlefield. She reminds herself to stay calm, to be charming, to mask her uncertainty. At the same time, flashes of frustration appear. Why should she bend so much? Why does a simple smile feel like a test? Her vulnerability is exposed not through grand confrontations, but through these private mental struggles. And viewers are placed in the intimate space of her self-doubt, feeling the tension, the unease, and the exhaustion that comes from trying to navigate someone else's rules. The charm that Daniel shows only complicates matters. A compliment now feels like a trap. A gentle gesture, a prelude to criticism. Lisa can't trust the rhythm of their interactions, and her overthinking spirals, making her more pliable, more cautious, and more aware of how her own secrets could be weaponized against her. The audience can spot it, and it creates a delicious tension, knowing that what Lisa fears most is exactly what might come crashing next. Even small tasks become tests of endurance. Choosing the right words, responding with the right tone, adjusting her posture, gauging reactions, it all becomes a performance of emotional gymnastics. Lisa's desire to maintain grace under scrutiny highlights her humanity, but also her growing fragility. Each moment she hesitates, second guesses, or replays a memory strengthens the invisible grip Daniel holds over her. Her vulnerability is palpable, yet she still hopes for connection, for reassurance, for a sense of normalcy. That hope keeps her trying, keeps her engaged, keeps her dancing along the fine line between charm and control. And the audience feels every misstep and every small victory, riding the pendulum of empathy, tension, and suspense. Every step Lisa takes seems to tighten Daniel's control. The night feels heavier than usual. Lisa sits on the edge of the bed, heart pounding, replaying every awkward moment that just happened. The intimacy that was supposed to bring them closer instead left her exposed and raw, her confidence fractured in ways she didn't anticipate. She wanted it to feel natural, but every movement, every gesture, seemed under a microscope. Daniel watches quietly, eyes calculating, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips, and Lisa can't tell if it's reassurance or judgment. The tension between them stretches, unspoken and thick, a line she doesn't dare cross. He leans in, soft words spilling from his mouth, carefully measured, flattering, coaxing. "It's okay. Don't worry about it," he says, the tone dripping with care, but the audience knows better. It's not concern, it's control. Every compliment, every gentle touch is a thread tightening around Lisa, pulling her deeper into a dance she doesn't yet realize she's trapped in. Her mind races. Is he being kind? Or is this another test? Her vulnerability becomes a tool he can manipulate, and she can feel it, even if she doesn't fully name it. Lisa's anxiety seeps into every interaction, and her attempts to recover, to perform, to please, only seem to create more tension. She forces a smile, attempts a laugh, adjusts her posture, but the weight of expectation hangs over her like a storm cloud. Daniel notices, subtly shifting the dynamics, sometimes soft, sometimes sharp, sometimes distant, keeping her off balance, and the audience can see the pattern forming. Charm, critique, charm critique, a rhythm designed to destabilize. Her vulnerability isn't limited to the bedroom. It follows her into the living room, the kitchen, even casual conversation. Each glance, each word, is filtered through a lens of self-doubt. Lisa wonders if she will ever feel secure, if she can ever relax without anticipating judgment. And while she questions herself, the audience sees Daniel's control extend beyond the obvious, through subtle gestures, through timing, through psychological pressure that masquerades as care. Even as he reaches out again, offering comfort and smiles, Lisa hesitates. The contrast between his charm and the sharp undercurrent of dominance makes it impossible for her to distinguish genuine affection from strategic manipulation. Her uncertainty fuels the suspense, and viewers are left leaning in, caught between sympathy for her and anticipation of what Daniel will do next. What happened behind closed doors sets the stage for disaster. Walking into the restaurant, Lisa feels the familiar tension coil tighten her stomach. Every step, every gesture, seems to carry weight she didn't sign up for. Daniel's rules are already in full effect. Where to sit, how to eat, even the exact way to lift her fork. The menu becomes a minefield. One wrong choice, one casual sip, and she feels the silent pressure intensify. Daniel watches, eyes sharp, ready to correct, to redirect, to remind her of her mistakes. The audience can see the pattern forming, the meticulous ways he extends control beyond private moments into the public sphere, turning every ordinary act into a test. Lisa tries to laugh it off, to act natural, but the anxiety bubbles beneath the surface. When Daniel comments on her food, suggesting she try it this way or that way, it's subtle enough to seem polite, yet pointed enough to make her self-conscious. Every correction, every insistence, chips away at her confidence. The audience can't help but notice the tension, how charm disguises dominance, how small acts pile into a structure of control. Traditional customs complicate matters further. Lisa struggles to balance her own instincts with Daniel's expectations, from seating arrangements to the right way to greet family members. Each gesture feels measured, each smile scrutinized. Daniel nods approvingly when she follows his guidance and frowns when she hesitates, reinforcing the idea that her compliance dictates peace. Humor creeps into the commentary here. The absurdity of needing a step-by-step guide for something as simple as ordering a drink, but beneath the laughter is an unmistakable pattern of domination. Even ordinary interactions with waitstaff or casual observers become arenas for power play. Daniel's insistence on adherence is relentless, and Lisa's discomfort grows with every polite correction he issues, every subtle hint that she hasn't met his standards. She wants to resist, to assert herself, but the fear of misstepping keeps her frozen in place. The push-pull cycle continues. A kind word here. A pointed comment there. Keeping her off balance. Constantly guessing. Constantly anxious. The audience sees the stakes escalating. The slow entrapment. Daniel's charm shields the control, making it harder for Lisa to recognize the manipulation until it has fully taken root. The psychological tension builds not just from what he says, but from what he doesn't say. The pauses, the knowing glances, the calculated patience. Every step in public, every meal, every customary action becomes a lesson in obedience, a subtle rehearsal for the control that dominates private moments too. Even simple meals are another battlefield for Lisa. It starts with a sigh, barely noticeable, but enough to make the audience shift in their seats. Daniel's patience, once seemingly endless, frays at the edges. A casual question from Lisa about the plan for the day is met with an eye roll so sharp it cuts through the air. His smile flickers, charm momentarily replaced with impatience, and the tiny cracks in his golden mask start showing. Lisa notices, hesitates, then second-guesses herself. Did she imagine the frown? Was it really directed at her? The uncertainty gnaws at her, and the audience can feel it. Every small gesture now carries weight. Every word is loaded. Dinner at Daniel's favorite spot turns tense quickly. He critiques the way she holds her glass, the tone of her voice, the pace of her fork. Each correction, framed as guidance or suggestion, masks a judgmental undertone. Lisa laughs nervously, trying to mask discomfort, trying to convince herself it's nothing. Yet the subtle aggression accumulates, each moment building a quiet storm. She remembers the compliments he gave earlier, the perfect balance of charm and admiration, and starts questioning if they were ever genuine or part of a strategy to keep her off balance. Audience members watching from the outside can see the pattern clearly. Every compliment, every reassuring smile seems to carry a hidden agenda, a lever to pull at the right moment. It's not just charm anymore. It's a tool of control, applied precisely to manipulate, to unsettle, to test boundaries. Lisa's internal monologue speeds up. Did I overreact? Am I being too sensitive? Daniel notices her hesitation and subtly pushes further, watching her flinch, nudging her anxiety just enough to keep her compliant. Cultural and family pressures intensify the strain. Daniel's expectations, once muted under charm, now spill over into judgmental corrections about etiquette and behavior. Lisa's natural reactions, small gestures, expressions of doubt or fear, become triggers for his subtle criticisms. The audience sees how quickly admiration transforms into discomfort, charm into coercion, and how Lisa's self-trust begins to crumble under the weight of his alternating behavior. Even seemingly innocent moments, like a casual comment about her outfit or choice of dessert, carry hidden tests. Daniel's eyes flick, his tone shifts, and Lisa, desperate to maintain harmony, bends to meet unspoken expectations. The golden mask is still partially intact, but the cracks are spreading, and the audience knows the fade cannot hold for long. Every compliment comes with a hidden agenda. Lisa's heart races as Daniel alternates between warmth and scrutiny, like a pendulum swinging too fast for her to catch her balance. One moment, he leans close, whispering something sweet, his hand brushing hers lightly, making her feel seen and desired. The next, a sharp remark about her choice of words or a questioning glance cuts through the affection, reminding her that the rules are his, and she's still learning the boundaries. The audience can feel the tension. It's a roller coaster of emotions designed to keep her off-center. Every smile is a test, every frown a warning. She tries to reclaim small bits of agency, suggesting a restaurant or bringing up a plan for the evening, but Daniel's reaction swings unpredictably. Sometimes he agrees and beams, reinforcing a false sense of confidence. Other times, he dismisses her casually, making her doubt her own judgment, question her instincts. Anxiety spikes as family expectations hover over every interaction. Even a casual mention of tradition or etiquette feels like walking a tightrope, and the audience is hyper-aware of the subtle cues Daniel uses to keep her unsteady. Witty commentary could point out the precision in his manipulations. The charm isn't random, it's a tool. Push-pull tactics are in full effect. He draws her in with compliments and attention, then retracts approval, leaving her scrambling for reassurance. The fear triggers are layered: cultural expectations, family judgment, and her own insecurities, making each minor misstep feel like a potential disaster. Viewers notice patterns before Lisa does, which creates a dramatic irony that keeps them engaged and commenting. Even when Lisa tries to assert herself, Daniel's responses test her patience and emotional resilience. He critiques her tone, questions her intentions, or introduces small ultimatums under the guise of guidance. Lisa feels trapped between wanting to appease him and needing to assert her own identity. Every conversation becomes a subtle battle of power, where charm and control are constantly interchanging roles. The audience sees her stress escalating as she navigates a maze where one wrong word could jeopardize her standing, both with Daniel and his family. Through this, the emotional roller coaster intensifies. The push-pull manipulation isn't just about controlling her actions. It's about creating dependency, making her crave moments of approval while fearing moments of judgment. Her internal struggle is palpable, mixing fear, desire for acceptance, and the tension of hidden truths. Daniel's pattern is predictable to viewers, but invisible to Lisa, which heightens suspense and engagement. One wrong word could unravel the entire plan. Lisa collapses onto the couch, her shoulders tight, mind racing from a day that felt endless. Daniel hovers nearby, switching effortlessly between charm and critique, praising her for small gestures while subtly reminding her that nothing is ever enough. Every compliment carries weight, every smile is calculated, and she feels the pressure of juggling her own insecurities with his relentless control. Her laughter feels cautious, her words measured, as if she's performing under an invisible spotlight that never dims. The audience can sense the emotional exhaustion seeping from her every movement. It's a silent battle fought in glances, gestures, and the space between conversations. Secrets weigh heavily. Lisa knows the truth about her own vulnerabilities, things she's kept hidden from Daniel and his family, and the thought of exposure gnaws at her confidence. Cultural expectations amplify the tension. Each ritual, each interaction with Daniel's relatives feels like walking a tightrope. Even minor mistakes could escalate into scrutiny, judgment, or subtle reprimand. Her anxiety is compounded by the knowledge that Daniel notices everything. Her hesitations, her missteps, even her attempts at asserting independence. The audience, fully aware of his manipulative tendencies, can see the pressure building, sensing the inevitable confrontation looming just beyond the frame. Commentary highlights the stakes without resolving them, teasing the tension. Daniel's control isn't just about rules or etiquette, it's about power, trust, and the fragile balance of intimacy. Lisa's struggle isn't only emotional, it's psychological, navigating manipulation, hidden truths, and cultural pressures simultaneously. Viewers are aligned with her, feeling her doubt, empathizing with her struggle, and questioning what steps she might take next. The push-pull dynamic has reached a fever pitch, leaving everyone wondering who will emerge in control. Daniel's charm offensive and subtle aggression leave Lisa oscillating between relief and tension. Every interaction has double meaning. Every compliment could carry judgment. Every gesture might conceal expectation. She is caught in a whirlwind of calculated affection and measured pressure, unsure which version of him is real. The audience sees the cracks in his fade, but Lisa remains suspended in uncertainty, amplifying suspense. The truth Lisa hides might explode sooner than anyone expects. As the episode closes, viewers are left staring at the possibilities. Will Lisa confront the mounting control? Or will Daniel's manipulations tighten further? What consequences will emerge if family discovers her secrets? And when the next twist hits, who will hold power? And who will be left vulnerable? Stick around, because the next chapter promises revelations, confrontations, and a test of who truly holds the upper hand in this high-stakes, emotionally charged game.